Hi, my name is Christina Mariquin. This is my Connect Extend Challenge routine for Assignment 5, COVID and Early Childhood Education. Connect. The ideas and information presented in the podcast connected to what I already knew in the way that I already knew that children's social emotional learning as well as academic learning is being affected by COVID. As the podcast stated, children are being asked not to share. They're being limited in the ways that they can play and interact with each other due to social distancing and even the wearing of masks that limit the facial expressions that they can see from their peers and their teachers, which makes it difficult for them to learn to read emotions. Also, academically, children are behind, with schools, daycares, and centers closed during quarantine, and many not being able to reopen due to lack of funds from having to be closed or having to make COVID accommodations. Many children lost access to valuable learning resources, especially in low-income communities. It extended my learning. The podcast extended my thinking when they made a comment about how children are not being taught to share because of COVID. While this was something I knew, the comment that they made about how children will eventually have to learn to share and that it's harder to learn how to share after learning not to share under trauma was something that extended my thinking. The fact that they're being taught that sharing right now is bad and that eventually they'll have to learn to share because, as the podcast said, not sharing makes you a bad human being it's crazy to me. We're teaching them something knowing that they will eventually have to unlearn it in order to be successful later on in life. This is a perfect example of something that could have long-term consequences for children. Another thing that extended my thinking was the mentioning of many young children receiving less attention, with parents having to help older siblings with school Zoom sessions or working from home themselves. Children who were used to getting attention from their stay-at-home moms or dads, or even their daycare teachers, are having to share attention with other siblings that would normally have been in school. This is something that can affect their social, emotional, and developmental learning as well. Challenge. The thing that challenges me is how can these essential childcare programs find help to stay open during these times? Many of these facilities are still feeling the financial burdens that these extra COVID measures have caused, from having to be closed during quarantine to implementing new cleaning protocols and even limiting class sizes. They're having less children, which means less income. While some rely on government funding, other small private centers that low-income families rely on might not receive funding and struggle to stay open, even though many families rely on them so that they can work in order to provide for their own families. So that's something that challenged my way of thinking as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate you watching.